Welcome to the Top Talent and Immigration Show with your host, Kaushik Ranchod. In this show, we discuss how companies and top talent in America overcome immigration obstacles and help create freedom and prosperity in America.
Kaushik Ranchod here. I'm the founder of Top Talent and Immigration, where I talk with leading researchers, business leaders, and attorneys on how they overcome big challenges in the immigration process and business. And today I am turning the tables. I have John Corcoran here, who's done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs, investors, and CEOs, and he'll be interviewing me. Take it away, John.
All right, Kaushik, thanks for having me here. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about really the business behind Ranchod Law Group, which I think will be helpful for lawyers who are listening to this, other business owners. You've really grown it over the last 18 years or so. You've got a team of 11 now, different types of challenges you've overcome, including hiring and retaining good staff. So I think it'll be a really interesting episode. And this episode, of course, is brought to you by Ranchod Law Group, where the mission is to provide freedom and prosperity for immigrants and to help more businesses to connect to top talent. Ranchod Law Group believes that immigrants add a tremendous value to the U.S. economy and helps companies facing a shortage of talent to make up that gap and grow thanks to the immigrant talent that contributes to their bottom line. They also help immigrants to navigate the complicated immigration process today. Ranchod Law Group, as I mentioned, has been in business for nearly 20 years in Northern California, serving clients nationwide and as a trusted advisor for employers and helping employers to attract talented immigrant employees. You can contact Ranchod Law Group today for details on how the firm can help you to solve your immigration challenges. Go to ranchodlaw.com or 916-613-3553. All right, so tell us a little bit about some of the strategies that you have implemented which have made a big difference in growing the business over the last 18 years, 20 years or so. What have been some of the things you think that have moved the needle, and the reason that it's not just you anymore, as you've got this team of about a dozen people behind you? What are the you think are the drivers?
So we all know that you really need people to grow a business. It's not, you can't do this all on your own. And I realize that in order to really fulfill the mission of our firm, providing freedom and prosperity, that it really requires a team. And what I've done is, one of the things that we do every single day is we have a huddle. So in that huddle, everyone gets together, we spend 15 minutes and we talk about what our win was for the day. We talk about one of our core values. We talk about a roadblock that we're having. And we also talk about, we give a compliment to someone else, and then we do clear the air. Like if something's bothering someone, like, you keep on leaving your dishes in the office, that gets cleared out. So that way, we're getting a sense of connection, because once you start growing, it's easy to get disconnected. And we want to have the wheels greased as much as we can. So that's one strategy that we do 4 days a week.
I want to dig in on that a little bit further. Okay, first I want to ask about the clearing the air thing. That's interesting to me. Do you ever find that there's some kind of big bitterness or between two employees, like, well, Sarah keeps leaving stuff all over the office? Anything like that happen? I think some people might be afraid if they did that, stuff like that, the dirty laundry would be aired. Yeah,
so we don't get any big dirty laundry like that, but we get something that, is kind of bugging someone. They clear there, or they bring up an issue like, I'm not going to be here for the rest of the day because of such and such. So it just creates misunderstandings. But we also use something else that I found very useful. It's a software called 15.5.
Yes.
And that's where the dirty laundry stuff comes out. And that has been extremely helpful, because prior to focusing on our culture, on how to improve our whole experience at the firm, I would at times have people come in and say, I'm leaving, and I have no idea. And the issue was sometimes things would build up. There's no communication about what those were. So now 15.5, that allows for people to communicate with the issues they're having, and then vice versa. I get to communicate to them something that needs to be addressed or something that's not resolved. And so I get to give them feedback on a weekly basis, or my office manager gets to do that.
That's a great tool. 15.5. People should definitely check it out. I've definitely, I saw a presentation from the founders of it not too long ago, and really interesting software. All right, so let's dive into a couple of these here. So this daily huddle is, it sounds like it's a big difference for you. What about hiring staff? What has been your theory behind getting good people to work for you?
So hiring staff is absolutely key. So my philosophy is hire slow, fire quickly, because you don't want someone who's at the office, who's infecting everyone else at the office with negativity. So in terms of hiring, we have a series of interviews, and sometimes people will drop out after a couple interviews because they think the interview process is too long. And I'm like, that's great, because if they're not willing to come in for 3 interviews or sometimes 4, then that means that that person's not the right fit and is not going to go the extra mile, which is one of our core values in the future. Then we also do a skills assessment as well, to make sure that they have the requisite skills, because people can interview well, but they may not be able to actually perform the necessary skills. Now, a lot of it's also attitude. Like we also put our core values out in our job description to make sure that it's going to be a right fit, because we want the experience to be positive on both sides, and our core values aren't a match for everybody.
Right. Yeah. And what about, do you have any secrets of finding the good staff out there? Any tools or tricks? Do you extend it to your network? Do you blast it out? Do you ask clients? What is your strategy for finding the good candidates out there?
Well, the best candidates always come from A players within the firm. That is sometimes there's not always referrals. So I don't have any secret strategy for that. So we just use things like Indeed, Craigslist, LinkedIn, and then carefully vet the candidates who do come in.
Yeah.
But it's can be a laborious process.
Yeah. What about retention? How do you keep good people working for you?
Well, that's key, because especially in a tight labor market, that we're in right now, I think we're like close to 3% unemployment, something, really low. It's really important to keep employees. So we've really focused on retention. And one of the ways that we've done that is through our company culture. So we make it very clear. And when you start off as a solo, you don't think about, oh, what's my company culture going to be like? In law school, there's nothing about how to run a firm whatsoever, and there's definitely nothing about like creating a company culture. So I had to learn all of that on my own. So creating company culture first starts off with, what is our mission? So for us, it's creating freedom and prosperity, and then it's, what is the daily conduct in the office? And what the way that we define that is through our core values. So we have very specific core values, like we foster honesty and integrity. We provide a wow experience. We go the extra mile and bring positivity. Family first. So those, either resonate with people or they don't. And then they also know that, this is really something that's really important. And we reinforce that through our evaluations, through the daily huddle. Everyone talks about core value for the day. So having a sense of what the core values are is one of the most important factors. And then just, I'm setting the tone by creating a very friendly office environment. At the same time, that we have to also work hard, but we're having fun too. It's not, we don't want to just be super serious and be like robots. We want to have a good time while we're working, because we're spending a lot of time here.
Right. You mentioned keeping a friendly environment, and one thing that leaders sometimes struggle with is how to draw the line between being friendly with your team and also being the boss. So how do you handle the tension between those two?
I think when I have to draw the line and set the boundaries of like, okay, this is what needs to be done, then I do that. But at the same time, a lot of my employees have commented that you're like one of the nicest bosses that I've had. I've gotten
It's a high
plaque.
compliment. That's a high compliment. I know I've had a lot of bosses over the years.
So I, when I come into the office, I always stop by everyone's office and say hello, check in to see how things are going. I make an effort to connect. Whereas I think other bosses, they may just go to their office and not take the time to do that. And at the same time, if rules aren't being followed, then there's a talk about it, or my office manager has to talk about it. So
right.
I think what it is it's being approachable, being friendly, but at the same time, if a line's crossed, then there is a discussion about it, or there's an accountability for that.
Right. Now, as leader of the firm, I know you do a lot of business development. You also do a lot of professional development. You do personal development's important to you. And those things require you to be out of the office. How do you communicate with the team so that there isn't any sort of bitterness that, that you're not there on a daily basis, that you're not in the office, but you're actually working on, of course, the larger mission, working on growing the firm. So how do you deal with that sort of issue?
You're asking some great questions, John. These are the things I've had to struggle with. So that's a great question. So I think, first of all, it's that what I'm doing, although it's not in the office, it is for the good of the office overall. And doing business development, doing personal development contributes to the bottom line. And at the end of the day, what I'm doing is to continually grow the firm, and it's working. We've been growing over the last few years, at least 20%. So it's knowing that what I'm doing is going to help them in the long run, and then making sure that they're supported while I'm gone. So one of the big things that makes a big difference is having an office manager. That's one of the things that took me a long time to actually want to spend the money on. But because you don't get an immediate return on investment. It's not someone who's working on cases or answering the phones where you can see a direct correlation to the investment that you put in. But that is actually one of the biggest investments, because they're making sure that the office runs smoothly. So it's making sure that the managers are in place, making sure that people feel supported, and then knowing that this is making sure that people know that this is going to also be resulting in the fact that they're getting paid, because without clients, without business coming in, there's no law firm.
Right. Absolutely. You mentioned positivity is really important, keeping a positive culture. And it's no secret that the climate for immigration has been in a bit of turmoil over the last couple of years. And how do you avoid getting dispirited or getting down when, you're struggling with a case, or when you're battling over trying to help one of your clients and it's been a real challenge? How do you remain positive?
Well, for me, one is going back to our mission. Like, why are we doing this? And my feeling is that our clients need us even more in this type of climate. And in a way, it's I think people are a bit more respectful of our role now, because before it's like, oh, you're just filling a bunch of forms out, and now it's like, well, what we're doing is going to make or break like whether you live in the United States or not.
That's
so
a really
it goes back.
Point. Yeah.
So it goes back to the why. Why are we doing what we're doing? Is to and then it goes back to our mission, and we want to create freedom and prosperity. And then I have daily rituals that I personally do to make sure that I'm positive. So like I meditate every day. I have a consistent exercise routine. I focus on gratitude every day, and I do those daily rituals to make sure that I come into the office positive. So, sometimes my employees ask me, like, how are you always positive? Well, it's because it's not like I'm just naturally positive. It's like I'm working to be positive, and then create a positive environment for everyone else, because my positivity rubs off on everyone else.
Right. What about marketing strategies? I know you're kind of a marketing wizard. You've tried a lot of different things, including radio and online advertising and stuff like that. How did you learn the different strategies? What has really been helpful in terms of growing the the firm in terms of reputation and clients in the door?
So marketing was something through basically trial and error. And that was another thing they failed to teach us at law school. So basically, when I was a solo, I realized if I wanted to grow, I needed to really understand marketing. So I went and taught myself marketing by studying a lot of different coaches and whatnot and experts, and then implementing what they were teaching into my law firm. So in terms of what works, some of the things that have worked really well, one is realizing that it's about relationships, and it's not just a transaction, that every client is, creating that relationship with the client, and then realizing that that person is going to refer another client because of that. If they're not only if they're happy with us, they expect a positive result, but if we go above and beyond and do something more than just the normal result, then they're going to refer someone to us or write a positive review. So now, the traditional referrals has turned into reviews or social media. So we've really focused on fostering that relationship, building that relationship where people feel like they can write us an excellent review, and then now people can see our online reputation, and for that reason they want to work with us because of that social proof that's out there.
I know we're running low on time and you have to go in a moment, but I just wanted to ask you, is there anything else we haven't talked about which has been critical for growing your firm as a business over the last 20 years?
Well, I think one of the things that's really critical is, and I alluded upon this, is going back to what your why is, and it's also having a vision, thinking about what do you want to achieve at the end of the day, and then having a coach to support you achieve that vision that you want to achieve, and to hold you accountable. So those are some of the things, and just to never give up on what your dreams are. And if you fail, just to keep on persevering through it and trying different things.
There's that positivity coming through. Very good. Kaushik, thanks so much. Ranchod Law Group is the name of the business, ranchodlaw.com, 916-613-3553. Contact Ranchod Law Group if you want some details on how the firm can help you with solving your immigration challenges, and we'll be back again soon. And thanks so much, Kaushik.
All right. Thanks, John.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to click to subscribe, check us out on the web, and we will see you next time.